13, so things are moving by pretty quick, so we're going to go get really slow. We're in digital marketing campaigns and search engine optimization. How we can improve our Google search results. What are some of the factors we'll look for to get more traffic to our websites? What are some of the criteria that Google uses in its algorithm to determine what's important, what's not, what shows up? Organic results versus paid search. We talk about most, if not all of that. For your companies that you're working on, whose company doesn't have a website? Everybody's company has a website. What about my submarine spot?
Yeah.
Is it interactive? Can you order off the website or not? Can you place an order? So maybe we could think today about how we can improve the website functionalities and website sort of advertising, the words being used, the content on the page today as a group. Maybe I'll assign some time for us to kind of work on it. Matter of fact, let's just kind of start that and you can work on that as a kind of lecture. You get your group some work on that. So what I would like you to do is kind of go through the website of your company, make some determinations what can be improved, but also more importantly look at the words being used on there, how relevant they are. Is there a description about the website on its homepage? Something that can effectively lead to good Google results, search results on top of it. And so also to think of what keywords can be used to find your website or your product. Right? Maybe start to think of long written form and short written form, right? And the generic and also more kind of specific forms, right? So maybe do this. Each group come up with one PowerPoint slide by towards the end of class. Talk about what could be improved in terms of content on the website, how to have better sort of descriptions on the website about what's there, how many pages are on that website, right? Do you think it's efficient? Do you think it's effective? How interactive is the website itself? And how can you kind of come up with better search queries? Right? And then if you're looking for a specific thing, well, that website pops up using what words, right? And the verbiage and words being used in search for Google. So you can work on that as a group and maybe have a presentation, just a one slide presentation, something simple, nothing too fancy towards that. Make sense? Might be. And then we'll come up and show what we got here. All right, planning for a digital marketing campaign. We got explore digital marketing strategies, focusing on search engine optimization. Right, search engine optimization. The largest search engines are obviously Google, right? Bing is owned by Microsoft and Yahoo. There may be a couple others, but I would say those are the three largest. Obviously, most people use Google. Google kind of has the market corner on search. So search is very important, right? If we go to look for something that we want, for example, we want to buy running shoes. So if we type in men's running shoes, right? We come up with a search query results, right? And on that results may be too many things that are relevant to our search, too many options. Because we're like, well, we're looking for shoes, what size are you? If we type in size, is it presenting size results? What kind of running shoes? There's all different types of running shoes. What brand of running shoes, right? All different types of brands. Who comes up first? We're like, well, talking about paid search, the Nike, Adidas, Puma, all those things are gonna come up first. Right? We may not be looking for those major brands, and now we gotta scroll through page 5, 6, 7, which we're not. Right? So it kind of makes it difficult as the consumer finding what it is, right? So Google's job, using Google, is to try its best using its own process to make sure what you're searching for is a few things. Is it relevant, right? Relevant meaning is it according to what you typed. Language. Did you make any grammatical mistakes? And can Google predict your misspellings, right, for your intent, right? So we say Google is intent-based, right? It's trying to figure out your actual intention to search for something. Specificity, right? It tries to narrow down as much as possible to what it is you're looking for, but obviously, you know, we as consumers have to do our jobs too. We're being specific with like size 12, Nike, men's running shoes. Then we kind of eliminate a lot of the work searching through all these different things. So, but it is a challenge if you are a company, a brand, putting your information out there that you're competing. You're competing against who has the most money to buy on Google to be in the top rankings, right? Because Google will rank your search. Right? It'll rank it by content. So if a website has old content on it, it's not going to show up until page 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So then before you say, oh, well, we got a crappy website because it's so outdated, right? This content, the web page itself is not really modern, up to speed. 2, is the naming of itself or the phrasing within that website specific? Will it say men's running shoes, right? Specific. 3, relevance also means location, right? If you look in the city of Chicago, things in the city of Chicago may come up as opposed to other locations, right? So we can kind of explore all these different things, maybe kind of assist you in understanding how can we improve search, optimizing the page, right? Which really just means making it relevant, using the content, the wordings, the descriptions on the page to make it so we can gain more traffic. And not only gain more traffic, because we can gain traffic but have a high bounce rate. Bounce rate just means that people saw it, but they don't click no more than the home page. You see the web page, they go out of it. They don't click all the different tabs and things that you want, right? So you think of maybe simplification, right? Take a look at the websites and say, hey, it's a little bit too much. Can it be simplified, right? Because we do want people to explore the site, but we know that human beings, particularly now, have a very low attention span. We're not going to go through 8 different tabs looking at the about page, the story, and that, right? Can you simplify to a degree? If so, how can you simplify this website? And content creation. How creative can you get with this website in order to draw the attention for people to actually stay on it, right? Can you have sort of a pop-up ad as soon as you open the home page, right? A very large one too, right? This might engage people to actually stay on that web page for more than 2 minutes. Watch this new ad that we have. Make a link on the ad. Have the consumer click on something within the ad to take them somewhere else. That can link them to potentially buy something, right? Or get information about something. Right? So we say, hey, you know, it takes a skill to build a good website. Not just a good, pretty looking website, but one that's relevant to people's search, which means that it's actually going to draw in attention from consumers. We also have things like backlinks. We'll talk about that, right? Backlinks is any kind of links out there that can take you to your site, right? So you can work as a company as a marketer, with other organizations to create links. Maybe it could be blogs, right? It could be on other websites. Maybe you purchase other websites. That's a big one too. A lot of major corporations, they buy the URLs so that you simply can own it, right? And it's something similar to their name or their product or service. You kind of buy them all up by groups, thousands. All right, so that could be also a strategy of yours to say, hey, let's buy some of the links that are closely associated to our website, right? Our URL, and make sure that other competitors are not doing the same, taking that traffic, taking that potential consumer base away. All right, so what is SEO, right? There's SEO and there's SEM. SEO is search engine optimization, optimizing the search website results, right? Search engine marketing kind of encompasses all of the different tactics that you can use, all the creative things you can use to draw more people there, involving advertising, promotion, pricing, et cetera, et cetera. The SEO is the practice of improving your website visibility on the search engine. Right, let's take a look. Let's see, we do a quick Google search. All right, I typed in running shoes. Okay, running shoes on Google. All right, let's take a look, see what it pops up. All right, just typing in running shoes. What am I getting? Sponsored. On. Anyone on any on Cloud shoes? Whoever purchased on Cloud. Pretty good shoes, right? Becoming extremely popular. Good looking shoes. Kind of lightweight, but the aesthetics are really, really pleasing. I kind of liken them to. Not the Air Max. What's the other running shoes Nike has besides Air Max? The ones with the big kind of cushions on them. The Vapor Max, right? They got like a couple of those. Those are like my favorite Nike running shoes. I kind of liken them to a streamlined Vapor Max. They look like a more tailored kind of, the cushion's not as high as the Nike ones, et cetera, et cetera. Right, but if you ever get a chance, you can go in the stores, try those on Cloud, you'll be quite the price. Right? You pay a decent price for them, but I think generally think they're worth it. All right, what comes up when I type in running shoes, right? So on is first. Next we got Brooks, Nike. So this goes to show you, hey, Nike potentially doesn't need to really pay that much money. Because we say the more brand value you have, the less advertising money you need to spend. People already know it, right? So Nike is third on this ranking. Who's before them? On and Brooks. So show that Brooks and On probably have paid Google more money, right? Paid per clicks is what we're talking about, right? So essentially Google gets paid every time someone actually clicks on one of these links, right? All right, what else is coming up? Other popular products, Under Armour, Nike men's. For some reason, there's mostly men. But it's mostly men's because probably it's from my account, right? So I'm still logged into my Google, it's showing men because Google has already locked me in, knowing that I'm using Google. So it already knows that I'm a guy, and so it's pulling up these shoes. Images. Right, so imagine if you were selling shoes, if you were selling running shoes, right? Look how many different images you got to look through, right? So you say like, hey, how can we be super creative to get someone's attention and draw their eye amongst all these other images to ours? Do you keep it simple and just show a shoe? Do you show someone running in the shoe as part of something big on your website linked up to Google? Do you show a multitude of shoes among shoes, right? Do you show additional shoes? Maybe you show additional shoes in one photo because you're like, hey, you may not like this one, but there's 4 or 5 others here. We put our best ones out. We think you might click on it as opposed to, maybe you put your classic shoes, right? So Nike can put one with the biggest logo, maybe a classic version to some degree. Maybe you put on your most colorful shoes, right? Which would be kind of a little bit more specific taste, tailored taste, but it probably would draw the eye as opposed to a sea of other shoe images. Here's a good example of splitting them all together. Right? For some of them, I say, hey, that's confusing. You should just put one shoe. Right? You got too many shoes, I can't even focus which one. Y'all kind of look too similar. There's all multicolored shoes. May work, may not, right? But something to consider. All right, so you have a lot of competition, right? And we're showing at the top here what comes up in terms of popularity. Nike, Adidas, Asics, New Balance, Casual, High Top, Air Max, Roger Federer for some reason, men's fashion, etc., etc. All keywords to describe what it is you're putting on the website. Right? Think about what's on your company's website along with the words ascribing to. Is it very general language? Is it specific to the brand? Is the brand constantly being mentioned right on the website? Is it too vague? Is the language too abstract? Right? Is it anything worth reading at all? Is it boring? Is it exciting? Is it anything that can stand out? All right, now we say the difference between organic and paid. Do you want to pay Google per click? Or if you're super creative, you can get organic traffic, non-paid traffic. Right? People are going to find it because you've got so many specific keywords. Either the name of your brand is so unique that no one else is using that word, that might help you to a degree. But if you don't have a name that's very unique, it's a very generic name, you're going to struggle, right, with organic search results. As we say, most of that stuff is on the first page of running shoes was all paid for. It was all the major brands. So imagine trying to come up with your own sort of shoe brand, the difficulty of that without paying for search and visibility. All right, so we say ranking factors, right? User experience is important. If we even type in something, let's say, just something about information, right? It's not even maybe a brand or a product, it's just information, politics. Usually what you find is the most notable or recent news clips about that particular thing. But well, that's not what I was looking for. I was looking for the definition of something to that degree. It still wouldn't matter. That would come up secondary, right? Unless you specify with your words, hey, what is the definition of? Then that will pop up, right? Usually what's relevant, modern, it'd be like a CNN clip, a Fox News clip, a New York Times article, right? The most prominent sort of news outlets being talked about that particular thing. We're thinking about maybe politics, right? So something to consider, what are the actual words that people would use? Maybe you could get the analytics on Google to say, what are the key words being used when people search for athletic wear? How do people search for it? What are the words? You can maybe cater your website using that sort of phrase, looking at the ranking factors. Algorithms, right? We say algorithms dictate how search engines rank the websites by importance, relevance, language, all the things that I mentioned. And understanding their functions help marketers adapt to their strategies. Some key factors, we say relevance, user experience, and content quality and staying updated on algorithm changes is essential for maintaining search visibility, which means that the algorithm process for Google changes all the time. Right? They may have adapted some new strategy in order to filter to see exactly intent on searching certain words. Particularly the biggest one now is AI. Right? So Google is using a lot of AI. Usually when you search something on Google, the AI answer pops up first now. That wasn't a thing a year ago, 2 years ago. Right? So maybe even think the use of AI in your websites. How can AI be of some benefit to your website? Right? How can you use that? Because you say, well, it helps to limit the budget, right? It helps to make things more specific. It has sort of this machine learning component to it where we don't have to think as hard. And it may pick up the data automatically, right? Data automatically from the consumers and what they search. Building quality backlinks is crucial for SEO, right? So focusing on acquiring links from reputable sites within your niche. You can work with other organizations to put your site on their page. Let's say you can hook up with podcasts, right? Podcasts, you can have them hashtag or add and put their link on their podcast, on YouTube or on some social media platform. Right? But really when we're looking, we just want backlinks linked to things that other people search, websites that other people search, or platforms that other people search on, putting our sites on. So example they give in here is guest blogging, partnerships, and creating shareable content. Right? So kind of having this co-marketing agreement with others to say, hey, I'll share your information on my website, you share my information on your website. It's a win-win, especially if they have a huge content, platform, traffic, base, et cetera, et cetera. Quality over quantity is essential. High authority links significantly boost your site's credibility. So if you're saying you're putting it on a website that nobody watches, it's actually just useless, just wasting your time, right? There has to be something that's deemed at least high authority or something that can boost the credibility of your website. A lot of people who do startups, what they try to do is do like interviews with local magazines, newspapers, or like a local pretty large podcast platform or something like that. That usually is a kind of a cheap way to link information search because they'll show up on all those different platforms on marketing aspect of those websites. An effective keyword research is vital for SEO success. Google has Keyword Planner to identify high value keywords, right? So you can use Keyword Planner to see what are the most used words in this particular category of a thing, right? A thing of selling or offering. What's the most used keywords for organic fruits and vegetables and restaurants and things of that nature, right? But focus on long tail keywords to target specific and improve conversion rates, right? So keywords, something that's very long and specific that maybe you can choose from those rankings, right? Because that kind of aids more in specific what people are looking for. And on-page optimization, right? Enhancing individual web pages to rank higher, including title tags, right? Meta descriptions. Meta descriptions are descriptions within the website itself. It'll be on the home page. Also headers, right? The headers on the websites matter. If you use a URL, you may say, hey, I'm gonna go cheap. And I'm gonna buy, I'm not gonna buy a .com, right? You think, oh, they're too expensive. Well, unfortunately, don't buy a .com. You're probably gonna lose out on a lot of traffic, right? Because you're trying to be cheap and save some money. So maybe you may do a .info, Right? Anybody, well, .info is relevant if it's purely information-based website. But if you're also selling something, .com is commercial, right? .com, commercial aspect of things. If you're selling something that is highly irrelevant, it does not match what it is being offered on the website, right? .eu, right? Say, well, are you in the European Union? Are you in America? Where are you selling things at? .org. .org is for not-for-profit. Right? So if you have a not-for-profit organization, it's probably best not to have a .com. It's probably best to have a .org. Right? .org is kind of scribed for not-for-profit organizations. Remember too, the shorter the word is, even searching the website, the URL. You start to see a lot of companies just use acronyms instead of the full word, right? Because the shorter, the better. The shorter the word, the easier it is to remember, unless it's something like really, really catchy. Right? So sometimes you even come up with fake names for companies, but in a short form. The short form, right? We think that that's more memorable than something that's generic and long. And additionally, ensure content is valuable and relevant to your audience, which improves engagement and reduces bounce rates. Right? Remember, bounce rates, people go to your website, but they immediately leave and don't go see anything else on it. So you have someone to monitor this information too. You can assign someone to say you are just a website developer, a website manager. You're constantly looking at the analytics, improving keyword research. Right? You're looking at content. Is it new? Is it modern? Are you using AI? You can have an individual sort of monitor because it needs to be monitored. So you can use tools like Google Analytics. Right? You can go look at it yourself. I mean, think of your own social media pages, right? You can go look at the analytics of that. Right? How many users came on your page this month? How long was the average person that stayed on certain videos? The view count, right? How many subscribers, followers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you can track key metrics such as organic traffic, and we said non-paid. Bounce rates and conversion rates. Right? Conversion rates is ascribing to how many people actually went through the website, clicked on other things, and maybe even potentially made a sale. Right? They purchased something on it. Using that information, you can kind of adapt things over time. So this helps identify areas for improvement and informs future marketing strategies, right? Getting the proper analytics to know what is not working versus what is working. The consumer journey and search queries, right? You can go and do your own search and say, hey, how does this look in terms of my journey? If you went on the web pages that you're going on now, looking for the company, you're like, this kind of sucks. Boring, nothing catchy. Things are kind of arranged in a weird way. They should put things left versus right side. Too much fine print, too small font, the wrong type of font. No interactive media on the page whatsoever. No backlinks. Right? Too many tabs. Something. You can go and analyze this yourself and say, hey, this user experience of mine is not that great. It's not such a great website. You can fill it yourself. Right? But here we're saying the consumer journey and search queries has three stages, which is awareness, evaluation, and purchase. Right? Awareness, right? So we say, hey, we go and we search in Google, we see what pops up. Your company pops up on the third page in the search query. No one's going to the third page. No one goes beyond the first page. How many of you actually went beyond? Usually go beyond the first page of Google, some of the search. Right? So you're like, no. Right? So you're like, well, what can we do now? What if we, now let me try a different search. And you get more specific on the search. You're like, okay, now we're showing up on the first page using these particular type of words. So how do we go about crafting that language on that page so that we finally start to show up? Even more, how do we improve evaluate, right? As a consumer. As a consumer, you're coming on the page and you're evaluating how interesting something is, how it's arranged, do you want to click on more things, right? And next you make the purchase. Is it easy to purchase? Is it difficult? Do you have to go through 30 steps just to make the purchase? Now I would say probably the most important thing on websites that it's like a retail environment is to have Apple Pay on there as a purchasing option. Right? I said it for me because I feel like it's super secure. I don't have to put in all this information, type in all this stuff. Makes it easier. It's a lot better than others who are still using PayPal and other stuff that people have to do extra steps. All right, so we say if you eliminate the steps, even in the purchase stage, you probably will gain more consumers that way. If you're making it more difficult by having people input more keystrokes and things of that nature, your competitors are beating you out. All right. So in conclusion for this chapter, this is a pretty short chapter, right? With digital search. We'll move on to the next one for Thursday, but in conclusion, right? Mastering digital marketing requires a solid understanding of how the algorithm works, how to optimize the pages, different techniques you can use, right? Implementing these strategies, you can enhance your online presence and drive more traffic. Stay informed and continue learning to keep up with evolving digital landscape. And that is it for chapter 13. Okay. Anyone finish their one-page descriptors? All right, I'll give you 5 minutes as a group to come up with something. And we'll come up here and talk about it. So give me your groups. Start going on Google and seeing what words being used actually show what particular type of ranking for your website. Okay. So we're talking about pizza or submarines and things like that, like using what particular keywords does it show up in the search without using the name of the, without using the brand name, without using the name of your company. How does that work? What could be improved on that website? So yeah, tell us about the number of tabs showing what the website looks like. Show us the key word search results, the best ones you came up with. We want to see how dated the website looks, how dated the content looks on that website. The colors, scheme of colors and fonts. The backlinks, right? Usually backlinks are thinking about the easy ones are just the social media sort of links at the bottom with the logo. here's Nike's current homepage. Like, wow, for millions and millions of products that they offer, it looks pretty simple to me. Right? We have 5 categories up here: new, men, women, kids, Jordan brand, and particular sport. So Nike is creating simple, but is making you do something, because you're going to want to see, well, what's new. If you're a guy, you're probably going to have shoes. If you're into Jordan, you just go straight to that. Or you could just say, hey, I'm looking specifically by my sport. Main page, right? We say main page is a huge advertisement, right? Very interactive. It also moves to show different, kind of has a slider feature on there too, to show additional things. And so we got 3 little sliders right here, right? Showing new products and new brand lines out. Let's see, sport. We go to pickleball. Who plays pickleball? Who doesn't know what pickleball is? All right, so here's our pickleball player. We say Nike just captured the market, right? Pickleball, no one's talking about this, so they just made up shorts and shirts and things and called it pickleball, right? Essentially. Might have some differences in the type of movements. The sole might be particular for pickleball. Maybe the lightweight shoes or something to that degree. But simple and clean. White background. White background with black font to show easy contrast. Right? Not to use too many colors. Homepage has a big ad campaign on the front. Logo is always there in the top left. Right? Simple 5 tabs at beginning, which leads you to additional tabs. Search engine, things you can save as your favorites, and things you can put in your cart. Okay. Let's see Apple. All right, Apple's website, like, pretty simple, right? Draws your eye quite a bit with the ads that they have here. And Apple generally puts on this page the main thing that is promoting at the time, right? Which is really the iPhone 16 Pro. So Apple is focused on pushing out the most modern sort of products that it has out, and then, kind of put a conferences and events, and then the other products. So Apple kind of ranked things by importance or newness to a degree. Let's see what the code is. All right, what do we think of the university's website? Have you been on it recently? Right, it used to be pretty drab some years ago. Now it's very active. Kind of took the same approach, right? We say first homepage has to be very, very visual, right? Usually with a video of some sort of campaign or promoting some sort of message, quick messaging, right? Here we see a lot of focus on religious things along with athletics and kind of school sort of community, school culture. Trying to do that in a very short span of time. Next, you're putting up here for the university, you can probably put up quickly just statistics. Right? You're ranking in some particular category so that you can give people a why you're better than others. Here we're talking about the degree program. And next we see personalization, right? Stand tall stories. Trying to hear stories from real individuals who go to the school. We say people love things that are personalized, right? Kind of feels like they're more close to the community horticulture. So that's another sort of facet here. And next we just have things like news, right? So you can also put things like news articles or things going on within the community for the context of whatever it is you're selling. It was selling education. All right. Everyone's done? Got a one pager? Okay. Let's see what we got. We'll start here. Let's see what you got on your. Okay, then we'll, how about you? Okay, you can come up here. Show us. I mean, this is pretty good for the website. It's pretty dramatic. Pretty good. Here we go. Is there two, do you have two separate inputs that are the same?
So our nonprofit is Lights Out Volleyball, and I kind of took some like screenshots from the website. On the top, it's like the like subheaders, I guess, where you can get to everything. The only thing that I don't really like about it is that they're all like really close to each other, so it's like really hard to tell which ones are like a part of what, and you have to like actually go like hover over it to see which one is what.
It almost seems like you're,
They're
can't
like
tell when they
it's
break
like
up.
two pushed
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
That's the only thing. I like the quotes on the page, and then just like a lot of stuff is like keywords, and like the equality and requisite are like bigger than the other words, so it like pops out on the page.
So keywords are nonprofit, volleyball, Chicago.
The black and white is like through the whole thing, so like on the website, it's like all black and white, which I think is like, they don't wanna get like too like bright. Like these are like really close to each other, so like you can't tell when it like, buying like merch, I looked up, or I like went on there to like, if I was going to, and it was really easy to like put in, you just put in your email and everything.
How do you feel about this with the moving background behind this font?
I kind of like it because it's not like too colorful, it's not like too bright.
Mhm.
It'd be different. The only reason why I wouldn't like it if it's like the video was like brighter and they didn't like dim it down.
Okay.
Because I feel like it works to a point and it's not like too much.
It's still
Yeah,
contrast and content.
yeah.
Now, would you change any of this on the homepage
Yeah.
besides what you mentioned at the top? Would you just do just like, even with Concordia, with a straight video?
I
with
feel
no-
like immediately going into the text, maybe not, but I kind of like how it's like in your face, so you can see it.
Yeah. How do you all feel about this, with the moving background and the text? Okay. Yes?
Me personally, I'm not with it.
Yeah, I think, the only issue I really see is the font towards the bottom. Now, the font at the top, because it's in bold, yeah, the ones in bold is fine, but then I'm trying to read the other stuff. And I'm like, you know what I mean? Kind of like,
Yeah.
humans are lazy, like, if we can't read it, then we just moved on quickly, probably good. Okay, and then what else is like featured in the tabs, and how like the tabs are?
They go into like their impact zones.
Okay, so there's a drop down menu
Yeah.
from each one.
Yeah, they do like the background video with like a lot of it,
Mhm.
so. but
Oh,
then
so for each
some
thing
of
you
it's-
click on.
Like down here, some of it's just pictures, which I think is better than the video. 'Cause it's
Yeah, I
like-
agree, I think, yeah, still pictures a lot
Yeah.
better.
But the video kind of like, I don't know how I feel about this video.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I get it, not-for-profits don't have that type of budget, to be putting like really interactive videos, so I mean, typically not-for-profits are pretty simple, I would say. Yeah, okay. All right, thank you, that's a good analysis. Over here. You may need to connect that HDMI back to the logo.
All right, this is our website overview for Victory Sports Club.
Some of the things that they do well is on the website is it's very self-explanatory. It's pretty easy to follow with booking the trainers, the coaches, if they wanted to schedule a cage for a certain amount of people. It's very easy to follow. They also do a great job with like pricing. They let you know the pricing for each cage or each trainer, how much it's going to cost them. It's very reasonable.
So it's up front.
Yeah.
It's up front.
Yeah, very reasonable. Same thing with, it's easy online purchasing setup. That's going again with the trainers and stuff like that. If you're online, like on the website, the trainers, it's very easy to book an appointment with them. It's very visually appealing. They come up with some pretty high quality and good quality pictures with what you're getting. So say you order a cage, they're gonna show you a picture of the cage and what you're gonna get, and all the equipment that is included in that package deal.
Okay.
Things that we think they should probably add, there's like a more specific, well, you have to search something very specific in order to find their website. So it would be to kind of, I don't know, get their name out there more so that they're able to,
Like attach more of Chicago, the place.
a little bit, yeah. They're not easy to find right now, just looking at like ad pages or something like that. You have to look up like sports club, and kind of be specific about like where it's at.
Do they have any backlinks connected to the Play It Again sports part of the business?
Oh,
No.
it's also like very good, their website's very good, and we're also trying to like pick out everything with that. And then we also got like the player testimonies reviews, so like my whole program, they had videos, they would show videos of like interviews with former players and stuff, showing like what they expected, how they connected to the team, like what services provided. They don't have to go that far with videos, but like just like quotes or whatever, or
Yeah.
like pictures or story about the person, how they like elevated the game.
Okay. All right, so this is the actual website?
Yeah, this is our actual
And this is the
website.
homepage, right?
Yeah, so right when you click on the link, this is what you have. Right away, you already have a purchasing option, like, kind of sell it up front, because that's like the main selling point. Below you have different services, descriptions, some images, and then at the bottom you have like all your hours, contact, stuff like that.
price, you have what it includes, and then obviously if you want to purchase that, it takes you to your next page.
And if they do want you to like create an account or sign in,
If you
you decide
make
to
a
like,
purchase, yeah.
make a purchase, okay.
Then you have your trainers, just simple.
Like a bio.
Yep,
for
simple
each trainer.
description, playing history, coaching history, so you kind of, if you're new, you know what you're getting yourself into. You have your about page, just kind of talks about, this is where we got like the mission statement, right here. Contact, obviously, you have all your info here, and then, this is like their membership page.
Anything, okay, that's pretty cool. What would you change, if you would change anything? Is there anything that you see you would, update or alter, or you think it's pretty solid as is?
I think it's solid, the whole like, maybe like on the about, where they have like a mission statement, like if you just scroll down a little bit, it'll be like testimonies, like player, for players and stuff, and reviews.
Okay, like a video testimony or written or?
Either one would probably increase it.
Okay. Do they have stuff about like their social media
It's
on
at the
there?
very bottom.
Okay.
To, Instagram.
Okay. All right, excellent. Yeah, good analysis. Here.
Yeah, so, we're superintendent, the diner down the road. And overall, their website's pretty good, but if we were to change a few things, we would add some pictures of all the food items. Right now, they can really only, like, project, like, the main subs, like, their specials. And by, like, adding more pictures of, like, the burgers or the shakes, it might attract a few more customers.
We could also add online ordering, so if we don't have that yet, it'd be kind of easier for people like just make them on Uber Eats or like DoorDash something, they don't have to go to the store and then go inside, just click a button.
We also wanted to add locate funds on the website, just to like get their attention, and then we will also get like a set on it, so that we can get more customers through that.
And then, probably just add like nutrition facts about food that's on the website, there's no find such things, that people might be conscious about that. And then, with searching it up, with maybe submarine tended, it's kind of, hard to, outbeat the submarine on the website, so you can't just like shorten it down, but if you just look up submarine tended, usually pops up, or some, like, submarine and the T, it'll, show up.
This is, I mean, that's pretty good, with the sandwiches.
Yeah, and
That's what we get so far.
Yeah.
Okay.
One thing we did say was to make the pictures a little bit more appealing, like you said, McDonald's.
Yeah, how McDonald's would on the.
Yeah, well, McDonald's use fake food. Yeah, that's not even real food, that's like,
Exactly.
Photoshop half the time. Yeah. Okay.
And then as well, how they got the Chicago best up there. I think-
Yeah, right, something to affirm, like, hey, we're legit, we're ranked, whatever, real or whatever.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. And what about, so, but you can't order, right?
Yeah, you can't order.
They have a catering for
A catering,
They
yeah.
do request it. I don't know if you can order on.
But they do, you know, if they actually use Uber Eats, Grubhub, anything? Oh, they're not, for the, oh, okay. All right, gotta get on. Okay, good, great job, thank you. Submarine tended. Yeah, they should display the whole menu, because, you know, as a consumer, I don't know if any of you all do this, but say you're trying to figure out a restaurant to go to, what do you use? What apps do you use? You're like, hey, I wanna find a new restaurant downtown. What are you gonna do? TikTok? Okay, TikTok, what?
Google Maps.
Google Maps. But how are you gonna like, you just gonna, are you use Yelp? I use Yelp. So you wouldn't use Yelp, like you would just try to find what's, you'll use Google instead of Yelp. And Google will have reviews, ratings,
I use
photos.
Google Maps because like it also shows where it's at location wise.
Mhm. And the distance probably from where you currently are too, right?
Somewhere where it's closer.
Yeah.
Just-
For me, I immediately go to Yelp, look at the reviews, and then look at the images of the food, the actual food. If I can't find an image of the food, I probably won't go. So I think a big thing is actually having people who may have really taken pictures of their, like, sandwiches, or, you know, the company could do it themselves. But I wanna see what it looks like, right? The actual, the visual part of it. Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna switch house and I'm part people. So what we should think to change like the layout. So that first picture up there is like the first thing you click on when you like visit like the whole part thing. And honestly, to us, it's kind of boring. So maybe add like some like visuals of like their food or something like that. Maybe road map, like people want to see the little road map up there too much. And also like put reviews as a tab. They have like the 5 tabs down there, which we think are like what to keep, but they don't have like a way to like see the reviews of their food or like anything else like that.
We also think like in other like company websites, like restaurants and stuff, they have like kind of like the deals that can be going on like during the day. So we think we should also add like a little like section or like the pop-up ads that they can have to show like the promotions for the day.
So things that we said to keep, as you can see right there, it has all the little tabs that you can go and click, so it's easy to like navigate. It does have pictures of the food on their website, so you can see these things that you're gonna be ordering. They also have the location feature, so if you hit the locations tab, it'll tell you all the Oak Park or all the sushi houses around and one Oak Park, whatever. And then they also have their menu and catering options, so you can go on, look at that, and then you can cater it.
Is this it? Can we see the actual website?
Yeah. Here's like, in here,
Okay.
tabs, like each one. And
Okay.
then, yeah, like, different sections.
Alright, that's kind of cool, that part.
And then we got like, these are like their favorite like rolls and everything,
Mhm.
hopefully here, and then you can order there,
Okay.
and then like stuff like that, yeah. And they can go into like catering news and see everything. So probably add their prices too a little bit.
With the ingredients too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad. I think they probably could have, just emphasized the location more, like what it looks like, the space, right? You know, we're looking at the food, but we also want to see the restaurant.
If you go to a location,
Mhm.
possible lounge, all the video right there.
Oh, yeah.
Saying,
Okay.
scroll over right, you can see.
Okay. Okay, right there. All right, and there it is, yeah. Okay.
So maybe like put it somewhere like more
Yeah.
up top, yeah.
Yeah. If you wanna get super creative, what they're saying a lot of sushi houses do, they'll have the video and it shows them prepping the sushi rolls with the environment and the people talking, people laughing, you know, all the background sounds of that, like, that's kind of really enticing, I would think, as a consumer.
Yeah.
So something to consider. Okay, excellent, thank you. All right, class, that's it for today. Maybe we'll do another kind of one page, one PowerPoint slide thing on Thursday as well too. But that is it for today. Continue working on